Warning, this episode contains strong language. Hello and welcome to PauseCast episode 9. It's Thursday, July 28th, 2016. We're recording this episode a little bit late. My name is Jessica Alouette, and I use she/her pronouns.
And I'm Mark Hanna. I use he, him.
So to start off super quick, if you were expecting this week to be our discussion about ways that we can prevent online abuse in gaming, unfortunately, we're delaying that discussion until next week. We've decided to have that discussion next week so we can make sure that we are fully prepared to have that discussion and can figure out some more solutions, just kind of be ready for it. This also, however, gives us extra time to collect stories and ideas from you, the listener. So if you are interested in contributing to that discussion, please send us an email at pausecastshow@gmail.com, or you can send us Twitter tweets or DMs. You can send us those at PauseCastShow on Twitter. All right, and without further ado, we will resume our regular show.
Bit of a lighter note. What have you been playing this year? This year. What have you been playing this week?
Wow, you know what? We should have a discussion about like the stuff that's come out this year, and we've maybe I'd like a preview of our games of the year. Like, how are we feeling about this year in games so far? That might be something we can do in the future.
Yeah?
Yeah. I've got a few interesting ones on there, actually.
It means it's more than one or two games because it's just a week. But what have you been playing this week?
Yeah, this week I have been playing some more Overwatch, which I'm still enjoying.
Cool.
More Call of Duty, also still enjoying. I'm playing, there's a little bit of Sonic in there. Just
Sonic?
A little bit. Yeah, Sonic Adventure, the one of the Dreamcast 3D Sonic games.
So are you playing that on an emulator or something?
No, I have it on Steam.
Ah, so it's sort of been re-released on PC recently then? Or
No, yeah, this one's been around for ages.
Okay.
Since, this has been around since 2011.
No, that's a fair while now.
On Steam. Yeah.
Okay, so you've been continuing your shooter binge with a little bit of Fast Hedgehogs.
Yeah, it's shooters with a little bit of Fast Hedgehog. There was some Hitman in there, because one of the elusive targets this week was the celebrity Gary Busey.
Don't know them.
He's a movie star.
Okay.
Kind of dude. And he appeared as an elusive target.
Oh, so you had to go and kill him?
Yeah, you had to go kill Gary Busey, which was a really, really weird thing.
I'm assuming he must have been on board with that.
Oh yeah, he was, because he did full voice acting for it.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. It seems to me that these events that are drawing you back to Hitman, eh?
Well, yeah, because I now they've also released a companion app on my phone, so I get a notice about stuff, so I always kind of know when this is happening.
Right.
That live content does make it really interesting to go back to, because it's one shot.
Right,
it's only appearing once.
And I suppose it's new each time as well.
Yeah, and even though it's appearing in these levels that you've already played, if you beat these contracts, then you tend to unlock more stuff in those levels anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So there's some incentive to go back and play the elusive targets. And it's a really fascinating thing if you haven't been keeping up with it. Yeah.
Did you beat this one?
Yeah, I did actually. I succeeded at the Gary Busey contract.
I'm sure that put you on a list somewhere.
Yeah, I killed Gary Busey. No, he's I got him in the contract. Got away successfully. Ended up getting some experience for failed contracts that I did earlier. Like, I succeeded at those, but then was killed.
Right.
But
So
it seems that the next time you complete a contract on that level, it still still records part of the experience for you.
Right.
That's a good save. So that's that. That's what I've been playing this week.
Cool.
What have you been playing?
2 games. One is Monster Hunter. Continuing with that. Still a lot of fun.
Which Monster Hunter is that?
This is Monster Hunter Generations, the one that just came out a couple of weeks ago.
All right.
It's been pretty exciting. So I had been playing the previous game with my flatmate and my cousin, but it's up to 4 players. And now one of my younger brothers has also bought a 3DS and the game. So we've had our first 4-person session since, like, the last one I did would have been when I was like 20 or something. Mm-hmm. So that was pretty cool. It's really nice now to have him playing it as well. I was playing some with my flatmate just earlier. I have just gotten up to the point in the single player where I can now go out and actively hunt the title monster. I think I'm something like 40 hours into the game or something.
Jeez. You've had that for 2 weeks, huh?
Yeah, well, he's 50 hours in, so...
Oof.
It's all right. The reason why I haven't been keeping up is because I've also been playing Starbound now that it's actually out 1.0 out of early access, and that as well. That's a lot of fun. I've already played a lot of it. Like I had 178 hours in it from early access, and I've sort of gone and done I think 3 playthroughs at various stages. But the last one was quite a while ago, so a lot of this is new to me, and I'm really enjoying it.
Well, here's a question for you then.
Mm-hmm.
I played a little bit of Terraria.
Okay.
Right?
Yep.
Not this week, but a long time ago.
Sure.
And I tried to play it solo, and I was really, really bored with it.
I
did not like that game.
I've been playing Starbound solo and really enjoying it this time. Terraria, I found, was definitely a lot better with other people.
What makes Starbound better solo?
Starbound does a better job of building. And I think that's a big part of it, because collaborative building is really cool, but it can get a little hard if you're trying to make something cohesive together. People can cooperate really well, but if you're not, it's not as good. But when I can just go out and build something on my own, I feel a lot more able to do that in Starbound than in Terraria, and I think that's a big part of it. Terraria, I found a lot of the gameplay was combat-based. It's got good combat, but it's a lot more fun with a friend when you're fighting a boss or if there's some horde coming that you got to keep away.
Now that was something that Minecraft was very good at, just being super easy to build stuff relatively easily.
Yeah, Minecraft's great for that, and it's great for collaborative building as well. I had a world that I kept going for quite a while with my now ex-girlfriend, where we built a lot of really cool stuff. I've still got it on my desktop computer, actually, that world. Haven't gone into it for a year or so. But yeah, Minecraft is really great for that. We played on the peaceful mode, so there weren't monsters, because some of them, as you may know if you played Minecraft, can explode, destroying your beautiful creations.
And that's always a problem.
So I didn't like that. She didn't like that. So we just played it without them. But even without the threat of combat, it was a lot of fun. I think we did turn it on a couple of times because we needed the bits from killing monsters.
Yeah. And something about Minecraft that always kind of struck me about that game was the survival mode even was still elegant despite the fact that you could have stuff be blown up. It was always, fairly easy enough to recover because all your parts are just kind of scattered and it's like you lose a couple things. It's not typically a huge loss when this happens. It's more just a minor
can
annoyance.
Feel a bit like Dark Souls sometimes due to the fact that I think items disappear after 5 minutes if they're loaded on the ground. So if you die ages away from where you spawn, that 5 minutes I don't think really applies because the area where you died isn't loaded, so the timer's not counting. But if you died nearby and then you go back and you die again, the time is still going. So it could feel a bit like Dark Souls in that if you die trying to recover your stuff, you're not going to get it back.
I'd never thought about the design similarities between Minecraft and Dark Souls. And that's kind of interesting.
I've noticed it sort of, it's not the same. Okay, it's a bit the same. In Starbound previously when I've been playing in early access, I just lost money when I died. Now I drop most but not all of my items as well. But as far as I'm aware, there's no timeout for them to disappear, so there's no real pressure on that. But I had a really annoying one the other night. Death by falling. And then I went and I got them back really carefully, and I spent ages using climbing ropes to get back up to this freaking hole in the ceiling and climb through it. And then as soon as I was on the top, this like, little slime monster just hits me, and I fall back down the fucking hole and die. And drop all that stuff all over again.
Right.
In the same spot. Oh, that was infuriating. But, like, I didn't lose anything. It's more fun now in retrospect than it was at the time.
Yeah, I can certainly recall some kind of frustrating stories from my time with Dark Souls itself, where I was like, oh, I was right near all my lost souls, and I screwed up one little thing, and I died. And, you know, it's a source of frustration, but it's also a fun story to tell afterwards, because you just kind of get over it.
Yeah.
But Starbound's been pretty good to you in single player?
Starbound's been very good to me, yeah. I still... There's a couple of things I still don't know how they work, because I think they're unlocked later now than they were in early access.
Right.
Like, I still can't just make pretty much any decorative object like you could previously do with 3D printing. I'm pretty sure it's still in there, I just haven't unlocked it yet.
Right.
But yeah, no, it is fun. I upgraded my ship once. I've got a slightly bigger spaceship to put all my pretty things in. Yeah, it's good. I'm enjoying it. And I haven't played any multiplayer yet. My flatmate's got it as well, but we've only played it separately so far. Whereas previously we'd played through it together, which was also a lot of fun.
Right. 1.0 added a story mode as well, huh?
Yeah, and that's actually been really cool so far. I've been impressed with the stuff they've done in that, because they hit it quite well in early access. So even though I'd spent like 180 hours in it, I hadn't really seen any of it. I'd seen images of the characters that would be introduced because I followed their development blog, but like that's it, really.
Okay.
So yeah, the story is really cool. The little 10-minute sequence at the very start really sets you up to how you start the game, whereas previously you were just, oh, I'm just here in a broken spaceship, and now it's like, here's how you got there in a broken spaceship. It's actually quite good. And they've also made the tool you use for interacting with the world, the matter manipulator for placing and destroying blocks and items. Previously, it's just like, it was there and it was kind of, oh my god, this amazing technology that never gets acknowledged. And now that they've done the story mode, it's kind of acknowledged that, wow, yeah, this is something really special, and that's why no one else has it.
Interesting. Now, on the note of kind of Terraria and Starbound and survival games, just kind of on the whole,
Yep.
something that's been catching my eye fairly recently has been stuff for No Man's Sky.
Right, so that's that procedural spaceship flying, landing on planets game that is coming out in a month or so?
2 weeks.
Oh, that's soon. Cool.
Yeah, it's coming out super, super soon. And obviously a lot of people are very excited about it.
Yeah, especially since it got delayed as well just recently, didn't it?
Yeah, I think it's gone through a couple of delays now at this point.
Okay.
And I'm all for these delays because it means that we get a finer product in the end. The game went gold, or had its finished code committed to disk a couple weeks ago now at this point.
Okay, so the rest has just been getting it ready to ship and stuff.
Yep, now it's getting ready to ship, getting patches ready as well for stuff that they discover after the fact.
Sure, yep.
Because there's always some time. Yeah, there's always some time between when a product goes gold and when it actually ships. So that's why we see things like day one patches.
And as anyone who's ever worked with software knows, there are always bugs to find.
Jesus Christ, there are always bugs. Me and Mark both do development professionally, so we know.
Yeah, and the more complex a project, the more bugs there will be, no matter how good you are at it.
God. So yeah, No Man's Sky is looking really interesting, but nobody really knew what it was until they started kind of releasing more detailed trailers as we've gotten close to the release.
It basically came completely out of the blue at E3 a couple of years ago, right?
Yeah, it was out of the blue at Sony's 2014 E3, I want to say.
And it won Game of the Show. It's from several outlets, didn't it?
Oh, definitely, because it was very, very visually impressive and kind of grand in scope. But nobody really knew what it was, other than the fact that you could go to all these planets and kind of walk around. And it looked really cool and colorful and beautiful. But more details have kind of come around, saying like it's a survival game and there's trading and economies and pirates and all kinds of cool stuff. And I'm part of me is super interested because the visual style and the concepts of No Man's Sky are really, really tempting to me. But at the same time, I've also really fallen off the survival game bandwagon.
Yeah.
In the past, I would say year. I used to be huge into Minecraft, and I used to be huge into survival games in general. I thought it was super, super cool. And then I kind of fell off of them, and I got kind of bored of them. So I wonder if No Man's Sky is going to be the kind of game that will rekindle that, you know?
Right.
But part of me also wonders what can make survival boring? Just on the general. Can you think of anything that would, like...
Well, I mean, one of the things that's difficult about survival games, I think, is that they tend to require some repetitive action, like getting food or something to continue surviving, right?
There tends to be a degree of monotony, I would say. And
I think that's where the danger lies. If all you're doing is the same tasks over and over just to survive. I think if they don't have... what I think makes for a fun survival game is when you've got that just as sort of the background pressure next to you're working towards some goal. And it's interesting because my main experience with survival games really has been Minecraft, which doesn't really have a set out goal as such. I mean, there are things you can do, but it's like pretty self-directed.
Yeah, there is those like story mode components of Minecraft.
Oh yeah, I completely forgot about that. I'd never touched that.
Oh, okay. I don't think...
wait, are you talking about the Telltale game Minecraft story mode, or is it actually stuff in Minecraft
No, I'm
now?
talking about stuff that, like, there's actual quote-unquote story elements, like going to the end and going to the nether.
All right, yeah, no, that is what I was thinking of, yeah. I mean, I've never gotten close to going to the end. Like, that hasn't been one of the goals I've set for myself. Part of that is because those are kind of combat-based goals, and I've always played it more as a survive and build this cool stuff game.
Yeah, and I've never really gotten into those elements of the story or the game, sorry. When it was in development even, I had been playing Minecraft since it was in alpha, I believe. Like super, super late alpha.
Yeah, I picked it up when it was in beta.
Okay. But, so at that point, obviously, there was no way in hell that we were having any narrative content. That didn't come around until super late in the beta.
No, it didn't even have like different areas or anything. It was just everything is green. All the green trees and the green grass, and there weren't swamps or snow. Actually, no, that's right. There were the snow worlds. If you wanted snow, the whole world was full of snow. Yeah, it came a long way. It was fun seeing that progression. And actually, that's something I've seen again with Starbound as well. I normally really shy away from early access. It's a really rare thing for me to get into. Starbound is kind of like the big exception for me. I saw an ex-flatmate showed it to me in like 2012 or something, and I really honestly fell in love with the art style of it. I love good pixel art in games, and Starbound, I think, has phenomenal pixel art.
Yeah, I can't actually think of the last early access game that I bought. I think it might have been Interstellar Marines.
Okay.
Which was like it was a tactical FPS kind of deal. I believe it is still in development.
Okay. Yeah, Starbound's literally the only one I can think of that I've bought in early access. And it's certainly, if I bought others, I've not played them to nearly the same degree as Starbound. It might even be the game I've got the most time in on Steam. I'm not sure.
Right.
But yeah, it's been really interesting. Like with Minecraft. Oh, there you go. Actually, Minecraft is another one I bought before early release. What am I saying? I was just talking about that. But it's been really interesting seeing the changes they've made over time. And part of that is just because they haven't had all the content in from day one, because of course they haven't. But they've changed, they've done a really good job, I think. I'm seeing this particularly now that I'm playing 1.0, of different ways of progressing in the game. Like, for example, in order to upgrade your ship, you need crew members, and you can do that by going off and fighting a boss that, once you've beat it, you can then hire penguins to be crew members. Or you can go and befriend some people in a settlement and do quests for them until they say, hey, actually, I'd like to be your crew member. It's like different ways of doing it. You can dig down and go mining for ore, or you can go and find a dungeon to go through and get it out of all the containers in there and stuff. It's neat to see those different ways. You can be an interstellar landlord and just collect rent from a bunch of colonists whose houses you've built. Like, that's a thing you can do in Starbound. And that's something that I've got one colonist because I've built one house. But like, I like building things. I'm probably gonna have a lot of houses, to be honest. So I think they've done that really well. It's been cool seeing them implement these things and make changes to them and stuff. And honestly, I think it's been improving and improving and improving through the years it's been in early access. I mean, it took a long time to get to this point. I think they were initially going to try to release in 2012 or something. That has not happened clearly, but they've gotten it to a really good point before getting 1.0. So I'm sure they're very happy with what they've done.
Oh, absolutely. Now you mentioned that thing about, like, creating buildings and collecting rent.
Yeah.
You know what? My kind of dream game at the moment right now is a game offering something I've been interested in playing, I should say, is I have been interested in playing a game that would just allow me to go fly around in space. And, it's kind of chill up there, and I can do some trading and collect resources and stuff like that, and just kind of be I just want to run some cargo around and just kind of drive.
Yeah, this is...
think Euro Truck Simulator, but in space.
My flatmate had recently been playing. What's that game? Your description is making me think of this game. Elite Dangerous.
I think that's kind of the game that's inspired this. But
have you played it?
No, but I'm curious about how much of it is kind of single player. Right.
I haven't played it. I've only talked to him about it. But what you described wanting to do sounds a lot like what he has been doing.
Yeah, it's what one of my friends on Twitter at Cat Boots has been doing, and it's got me interested in the idea of just doing this and driving around and shipping stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I've wanted the same kind of thing before, honestly. I've talked to you before on the show about how, like in the XCOM games, the constant ramping up of threat
really bugged you.
Really, yeah, it bugged me that I couldn't just keep at the same level, keep doing the same stuff. There was a game I really like called FTL, Faster Than Light, which is a like management/combat game based around you're flying a spaceship and you like send your crew member to the weapons module or the pilot module or whatever, and then fire this weapon at this part of the enemy ship and stuff. And it's a lot of fun, but it has that constant ramping up problem.
Yeah.
I would really enjoy a game like that just let me fly around in space, and it has that aspect to it, but that's not it.
Yeah. I know that a game called Rebel Galaxy is coming out for free in PlayStation Plus this upcoming month. So I might have something on my hands that'll be what I'm looking for here.
Right, so that might let you do the trading, the chill space trading stuff.
Yeah, just kind of the chill stuff. There's a little bit of space combat, but I can live with that.
Actually, you know what? It's not a space thing, but I have had that sort of... It's going to actually sound kind of weird, I guess. That sort of chill trading thing in... what's it called? Sorry, it's on the tip of my tongue. Mountain's Blade. which is like a first-person medieval combat simulator. But if you avoid the fights, you can like just trade. So yeah, it's kind of interesting because I've done that before. I've had a character in that who did a lot more of that than fighting, and it was really kind of interesting. It can be kind of chill.
I really dig how we have a handful of games that just allow us to do that or are explicitly built for that, like Euro Truck Simulator.
They're kind of the more open games all the time, I feel like. If they don't have some aspect of the setting or plot that's constantly wrapping things up, like XCOM and FTL do, and you can just go around freely in this world, that's when you can do that chill out stuff, because nothing is egging you on to, no, stop doing this, or do this in a more explosive way, or whatever.
Yeah.
And Starbound is another, and Minecraft, and Terraria to an extent are like that. Terraria is a lot more combat based, but in that you can just keep doing the same thing and no one's going to force you to ramp it up.
Yeah. That's, yeah.
Whereas I suppose games like Fallout and stuff, where as you level up, enemies get stronger, you can't stop the progression, because if you keep doing stuff, you're going to keep leveling up, whether you like it or not. So stuff is going to get stronger. So it's interesting to sort of compare which games you can halt progression and just stay at a level you're comfortable with, and which games will force you to ramp up a challenge. And I mean, ramping up challenge isn't always a bad thing in a game, but it's really nice to have those games where you can just go and chill out and not worry that the next time you come to play, things are going to be harder just because they have to be.
And you bring up Fallout 4, and theoretically you could stay in kind of that upper corner where you start in the Diamond City area. And
right, things do stay weaker, don't they?
Yeah, if you don't go further out from those corners, like, you're not really dumping into these high threat areas.
That one kind of, Fallout 4, I think, from what I know, it's got kind of a bit of each, right? A bit of it is as you get stronger, enemies get stronger, and then another bit is enemies' strength depends on where you are.
Yeah, I'm looking at a map of the threat level stuff right now.
Oh, that's right. You've got all the cool special edition stuff, don't you?
No, I got one of the guides, and it comes with a physical map.
Yeah.
And I have it up on the wall directly in front of me. So I can take a look at that for super quick reference of things.
Yeah.
I can't really read it in detail, it's too far away, but I've got that up. I've got a map of Witcher stuff and a Mad Max poster.
See, another thing that these games we're talking about with relaxing stuff can often do, which is another thing that appeals to me, is and I keep coming back to this idea of building. It's probably pretty clear I really like that in games, but I find that it's in a bit more of an abstract way. It applies to the games like Mount and Blade as well. When you're building up resources in that game, you might get a castle and a bunch of soldiers who you're paying and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's pretty clear in games like Starbound, like building, because yes, you've actually built a bunch of stuff and you have a bunch of resources. But there are other games like Kerbal Space Program and stuff, where once you've been playing for a decent amount of time, you've got a lot of stuff going, and it can be really satisfying to have that platform to come to play it and go, yeah, I did all this stuff and it's there, and you can still do all the low level stuff, but there's a real degree of satisfaction, I think, to coming back to a game where you have this bit of an empire there of all the stuff you've achieved.
You know what's really good for those
What's
kind
that?
of games? The Tycoon series, like the Railroad Tycoon and the Roller Coaster Tycoon series.
When I was a kid, I had Theme Park World, and it was the best. Do you know what
Was
I
it
used
like
to
a
do?
knockoff? Is it a knockoff
I
Roller
don't think
Coaster
it was
Tycoon?
I don't actually know which one came first. I don't know.
Well, let me quickly look it up.
Okay.
While you talk.
What I used to do, this was seriously the best strategy. I was so proud of myself. There are rides in this game which you go in this side and you come out the other side. So, my park had like a foyer area with a bunch of really cool free rides that spat you out in another section of the park from which there was no escape. And it was full of really awful things like, hey, have free chips with the salt put up to max next to a place that sells really expensive drinks because you're now really thirsty from the free chips. And my park population would go up and up and up and up and up, and happiness would go down and down and down and down and down.
Oh no!
And once enough of them had emptied out their wallets, I just destroy one of the rides and watch this flood of children run screaming out of the park and start the process over again.
Oh no!
I was really good at that game in a really awful way.
Oh no! I remember a lot of people have a lot of fun in Roller Coaster Tycoon with making the most miserable roller coasters of all time.
Building roller coasters was part of this theme park world game, but not the only part. But it was a really fun part because, I'm sure you can in Roller Coaster Tycoon, which I haven't played. You could build them and then go through them in first person.
Yeah, you can build just totally custom ones.
Yeah, you could do the same in this.
Now here's an interesting development.
What's that?
Roller Coaster Tycoon was released March 31st, 1999.
Okay.
Theme Park World was released on PlayStation on the 24th of October, 1999. Same year.
PlayStation? I didn't know it was even on PlayStation.
Yeah, it was on PlayStation and PlayStation 2. And it was also on Windows and Mac OS. The Windows version came like a week later after the PlayStation version. But that was that was just a little bit later, so it's safe to say that they were being developed around the same time.
Oh, I'm looking at the cover art for it now, and wow, that cover art is really familiar to me.
It's profoundly weird looking, I would say.
Yeah,
I'm not super into that art style. It feels like a really exaggerated Jimmy Neutron almost.
I'm not familiar with Jimmy Neutron, so I don't know.
That might be more an American and Canadian thing.
Maybe. But there's a lot of pop culture stuff that I just haven't seen, so it could be that
That's
too.
true.
It's just more familiar because I've seen it from my childhood, that cover art.
Yeah, I really loved just building up empires in Roller Coaster Tycoon, even if I was never particularly good at it, and I was always come back and it's like, there's always new stuff for me to do. There's always this. Oh.
So that's another thing about these chill out games where you can build stuff. There's no pressure to be amazing at it. You just do it and have fun. And like I said before, there is definitely a good thing about challenge in some games, but it's really nice to not worry about it for a while. Like The Sims. I have never played The Sims without cheating for money, because who wants to have to work their Sims for ages before you can build a cool house? I play The Sims to build cool houses. Give me the money, thank you very much.
Yeah, that seems like an option that the devs would put in, huh?
Oh, well, they always have. They've always had cheat codes you can put in for more money. And these are not hacks. This is like, hey, yeah, open the console and put in this code.
Yeah, put in the cheat code, like the actual legitimate cheat code.
Yeah, exactly. They've always had that. I always have to Google them because I can't remember which one's which game. But yeah, it's always been there.
Yeah, man, those games are fun.
They are very fun.
You know what? I couldn't ever really get into The Sims.
No?
For some reason.
I come back to it every now and then. I spent a lot of time in The Sims 1. I got it as a birthday present when I was 10 or something, so I spent a lot of time in that. Less in Sims 2, but I've come back to Sims 3 like 3 independent times or something. Wait, is Sims 3 the most recent one, or is it Sims 4? I have the most recent
Sims
one.
4 is the most recent one.
Okay, probably that one then. But yeah, I come back to it every now and then, and I'll play it for like a week and have a lot of fun, and then I'll just leave it again.
Well, hang on. Sims 4 was only released last year, so maybe you do have Sims 3?
Maybe it is Sims 3. It has been a while since I last played the one I'm thinking of, so yeah, maybe that's it.
I remember a while back as well, EA ran a promo where you could get the entire Sims collection for free.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That seems unlike them to give anything for free.
Well, you know that they've been doing games on the house every month, eh?
Have they?
Yeah, you just get a free game every month. I think the first one they did was Battlefield 3.
I think I'm just always going to be bitter about how it's never feasible to play a Sims game with all the content, because all the expansions together is like $700.
Well, yeah, that Sims 2 thing that they gave out was like the Sims 2 with every expansion.
I had a really annoying thing maybe a year and a half ago where there was a Humble Bundle, I think, with the Sims game that I have, and one of the expansions I didn't have. And originally it was going to come with Steam keys, but then eventually that was no longer the case. So what I had was I had The Sims 3 on Steam with these expansions and Origin with these other expansions, but I could never play it with all of the expansions I owned at once.
Oh no!
Yeah, it was the worst. Well,
that sucks.
Not the worst, but it was just infuriating because it's like, I own this, but I cannot have them at the same time.
That sucks, though.
Yeah, it was annoying.
The fragmentation of software it's profoundly annoying, I would say. That would be how I describe that.
I wonder when the last time I was happy about an expansion would be. More recently, it's always seemed to be I'm more in a mood to moan about DLC than being, oh cool, this new stuff's coming out.
I'm really quite the opposite.
Yeah?
Yeah. I really like that more games are becoming they're becoming services, and they offer so much more content out of a single game. So if you get really into a single game, and I know a lot of people do, like they'll buy a single, especially people who are lower income, they'll buy a single game, and that will be what they play for months. So if they get some DLC for that, it doesn't cost as much as getting a full game, and it adds more to this thing that they're already just playing the shit out of. Like, that's a cool model.
It is, but DLC is a lot smaller than it used to be when they were typically called expansions, you know? I think I'm being nostalgic just about
yes and
before
no.
DLC. It was called DLC.
Like, I think the line is blurred. I appreciate that The Witcher 3
that has had some ones that, as far as I know from having not played them, they sound like they're worthy of being called expansions.
Yeah, they are 10 and 25-hour expansions.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I believe. So, significant content. And they were sold as expansions and not as DLC. And I appreciated that callback to that old term.
Yeah.
But I wonder if we, you've mentioned before how you're kind of frugal as well. Yeah?
Yeah.
About spending any money on games, really?
Yeah.
And just money in general.
Yeah. It's true.
Hey, no shade.
No. I didn't take it that way.
But I also think that the shift in language that we've had from expansion to just DLC and what we've come to associate with DLC has cheapened. It's cheapened the whole damn thing, which stinks because a lot of great content is still being released and is very much worthy of being called an expansion, but still captured under this label of DLC. Let's look at Dishonored, for example, which is one of my favorite games of the past couple of years.
It's one that I need to go back and play as well. I've played the first couple of levels, but I have this horrible sickness where I have to explore every nook and cranny of every level. So it takes hours for me to do anything in that game. I do really enjoy it.
Yeah.
I just haven't got very far.
Well, that game had 2 major DLCs, and each was about kind of 8 hours or so. And they're still called DLCs, and that's kind of what they are, but they totally would fit the criteria for an expansion on a kind of 20-hour game or so.
I think the last I've been looking through my Steam list trying to think what was the last game where I really played something that felt like a really good expansion. And wow, it was before I played games on Steam, because none of them. Except there's one game I own on Steam which I haven't played on Steam, Oblivion. It's Shivering Isles expansion. I really enjoyed and felt was definitely an expansion, and it was a step up from the original game. But since then, not to say there hasn't been DLC I've enjoyed, but a lot of it I don't know if I'd put it quite in that same realm as expansion. But that was a really good one.
I totally think that more and more games have released these high quality expansions. So use more, but again, they still fall under this label of DLC. To use some more examples here, we have Borderlands 2, which had 4 major story DLCs.
Did it have just those, or did it have a bunch of smaller ones as well?
It had a bunch of smaller ones and a ton of cosmetic DLC as well.
Right. I just remember seeing a whole long list on Steam.
Yeah, that's like 99% cosmetic.
Okay.
And then there's 4 major story DLCs and 5 Headhunter packs, which offer a couple main quests and a raid boss.
Okay.
Designed for 4-player co-op.
Yep.
Still totally achievable in 1 player, but definitely designed for 4-player co-op. And those DLCs are really fun.
Cool.
But they I think totally fit what we now consider DLC.
Yeah.
And the core story content definitely falls under what used to be called expansions.
Yeah. I kind of want to say I have definitely played high quality DLC that I've been glad I've got. I don't want to say that DLC is all a bad thing.
No, but
I think that the financial model of The Sims having 50 expansions, which are each expensive, has spoiled the name expansion a little bit, perhaps.
I don't.
Maybe it's just me. Maybe
I don't even think they use the word expansion for a lot.
Maybe they don't anymore, but originally they always did. At the very least.
I think now it's just they call them content packs when it's just stuff.
Oh, I'm thinking of the ones that add a whole bunch of stuff. Like there are ones that add like seasons and pets and university and stuff. Those are
the expansions.
Yes, and I mean they're all sizable, but the fact that there's so many of them and they're each so expensive makes me jaded. I think is what it really comes down to. I'm just jaded.
That sounds totally reasonable. But it's something that we've both played as well that has had some really good DLC. At least from what I've heard, I haven't played any of this quite yet. Fallout 4.
Yeah, I haven't got around to its DLC either. Well, actually, that's a lie. I have played some of the Automatron stuff, and I've actually thought that was really cool. Building robots, turns out, is a thing I'm into in video games. So, yeah.
Weird.
I know, right? You'd think it would be boring.
And they've also got the whole Far Harbor thing.
Yeah, I've not touched that yet. So.
And they have one more major upcoming story expansion as well.
That's the Nuka World one?
That's correct.
Yeah.
And they've also got a bunch of stuff that, again, would fall under what we now call just DLC. They've got all the workshop packs.
Yeah.
Like you've got Vault Tech Workshop, which just came out, and Contraptions. And there was one more.
The Wasteland Workshop, was it? The old
Wasteland Workshop, that was it. Yep. And that had like neon signs.
And traps and stuff. Yep. Now I have had a look at that one.
Some trinkets.
So the one thing that I really liked about that one, I haven't actually used yet, which is the thing that can give you a cat. But in order to make that, you need a special type of meat that I just hadn't found while playing it.
Weird.
You can get a cat in Starbound.
You can also just like be a bird person.
You can. You're totally into that, right?
I'm very into that.
I know. I was actually really impressed. One of their 6 species you can play as, the Hylotl, which is, I guess, a play on axolotl. They're kind of amphibious people with 3 eyes, and their aesthetic is very Japanese. And they've got flags for each of the 6 races, and I thought they'd done a really good job of designing the Hylotl flag, because it is a white background with 3 red dots. So it's like the Hylotl eye pattern, but also it's clearly taken from the Japanese flag, and I just think it's a really clever way of doing it. So I just saw that the other night and took a moment to go, I'm impressed by that design.
It's elegant.
Yeah. And of course, especially with the not quite as recent backdrop of horrible, horrible potential new flags for New Zealand.
Hey, do you remember that one that was just like a kiwi firing lasers?
That was the best.
That was absolutely the best one. We should have made that our flag. Thanks, John Key. You did absolutely nothing. Oh, the laser kiwi. We should have had that. We should have kept that. It would have been brilliant.
It's still around. You can like buy T-shirts of it and stuff.
Oh, thank God.
Fly it at sports events. The Olympics is coming up. Put one outside your place.
True.
Support New Zealand.
You know what? Okay, you know what's been weird these past few Olympics?
What's that?
The Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games.
Really?
Yeah.
I've not seen that. Although, to be fair, I don't follow sports very closely.
I also take it you don't follow Nintendo games very carefully.
No,
either.
not really. When it comes to Olympics, I watch the gymnastics routines because they're amazing. Oh my God. But that's about it.
They are sports games. Just like competitive 8-player, typically sports games, starring the Mario and the Sonic characters.
Oh, I
that's
had no
fun.
idea about those.
Yeah, it's actually, like, I remember playing them on... I played the original one on my DS.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that game was fun. It was really simple because it kind of had to be. It was for kids.
Yeah.
But it also, because it's the Olympics, allowed for a really high skill cap. So I remember dumping hours and hours and hours into that game. And just, it was wild. It was really weird.
If you had fun,
yeah,
it was weird.
I also had I had it on the Wii as well,
right,
for the winter version.
Mm-hmm.
When they because they've been releasing it every 2 years now for the winter and the summer Olympics.
Right.
And there's just a bunch of fun mini games, and I'm into that.
Cool.
Oh man, and that new Sonic game, I don't know what to think about that.
This is the one that you've been playing? No, that's not new.
No, that's ancient.
Which one's this that you're talking about?
It's Oh, I'm just gonna link you the trailer. We'll be right back.
Okay.
Just because this is like bizarre, and I don't know what to make of anything in this. Let me know when you watch it, and I'll watch it with you.
Watching it now. Sonic Team. What? Oh no, that's just the people who made it.
Yeah, that's always just been the name of the team that made it.
Okay. This is a giant robot crushing a city. It's on fire. It's a very cartoony glove. Oh wow, his nose. I'm not used to seeing it from that perspective. What? Okay, apparently I don't get Sonic games because I am not excited.
I have no idea what's going on in this trailer. At all. And I'm very confused.
Yeah, I mean, the last time I played a Sonic game was years and years ago. And it was like 2D side to side. Are the more recent ones still like that? 2D platforming?
No, they're mostly 3D platformers.
Oh, okay.
There was a fairly recent release called Sonic Generations, where you had the classic Sonic segments. Like you played it as classic and modern Sonic. So you played classic Sonic segments in 2D, and then modern in 3D, which was a cool kind of nostalgia trip through all the...
So that reminds me a little bit. Have you played Metal Gear Solid 4?
I haven't yet played Metal Gear Solid 4.
Okay.
I have a PS3, so I could get it.
I'd recommend it, but I won't spoil this part then for you.
Okay. Well, can you be vague about it?
I can tell you if you don't mind spoilers, or I don't think I can say it without spoiling it. It's not a huge spoiler, really, I guess.
Go
It is a
for
bit.
it.
Okay. You've played Metal Gear Solid 1, right?
No.
Okay, then never mind. It's a nostalgia thing. If you haven't played Metal Gear Solid 1, you won't get as
you
much.
can access a classic snake skin or something
No,
like that for
it
a time?
is. Okay, fine, I'm just going to say it. You go back to Shadow Moses Island, which is where Metal Gear Solid 1 is set. And
Right.
Snake has a bit of a daydream in the chopper, during which you play through the first part of Metal Gear Solid, which is the arrival at Shadow Moses Island, as like it's actually Metal Gear Solid you're playing, number one. And you finish it, and he's like, oh, it's reminiscing, kind of thing. It's very cool, especially if you played the game. It's not like an optional extra, it's like, no, you do this.
That reminds me of a scene in Uncharted 4, but I'm going to leave that alone because you are very much looking forward to playing that.
Thank you, yeah.
If you've played the game, you know exactly what scene I'm talking about. I don't even have to say anything. Oh man, that reminds me of something else as well that I thought was really cool. Wolfenstein: The New Order. Have you played that?
No, I haven't actually played any Wolfenstein games ever. They're about killing Nazis, right?
Yes, they're about killing Nazis. That's the bulk of it, I guess.
Okay.
There's some weird occult stuff going on too, and that's fun. But in the New Order, and I think in the Old Blood as well, you could play through some of the classic levels from the original Wolfenstein 3D.
Because it's contemporaneous with Doom, right? Like, it's been around for ages, this franchise.
Yeah, exactly. And they actually both have the same team. id Software developed kind of both of these.
I don't think I knew that.
Yeah.
Cool. That explains the similarities a bit as well.
Yeah, definitely. It was id Software who ran the show on Doom and Wolfenstein until recently, where I think it's some of the id Software team formed a studio called Machine Games.
Have they done the new Doom?
No, they did the new Wolfenstein games.
Right. Yep.
And I'm just going to look that up so I'm not talking out of my ass.
Oh no, you made me think of that Jim Carrey scene in, what's it called now? Where he actually talks out of his ass. Never mind.
Jesus.
If you haven't seen it, you don't really probably want to.
No. Okay, I was talking out of my ass. It's former members of Starbreeze Studios who worked on Chronicles of Riddick, The Darkness, and several other games. They now develop Wolfenstein, but they use id's engine.
Okay.
Either way, they brought back levels from classic Wolfenstein, much like Doom did with their game. You could find and play these classic levels. Mm-hmm. But you play them with, like, your modern guns. Which is... It's a very weird disconnect.
My flatmate went back and played the level of the original Doom just like a week ago because I think it's free somewhere, or he might have just had it. I didn't realize that it's effectively 2D in that there's no vertical. Like, you don't aim up and down.
No, you don't.
You just aim towards them sideways and you'll hit them, even if they're on a platform above you.
Yep.
It's kind of interesting. I hadn't realized it was like that.
Yeah, that era of shooter was kind of weird, I think. But like early game design was just weird because
it was when 3D was first becoming a thing in video games, so no surprises that it was a bit funny.
Oh yeah, and now we've refined the hell out of the process. So hey,
been around for quite a while, yeah.
Yeah, it's been now since the 80s, so like we're talking 30 years of gaming history.
Well, I'm still playing 2D
many
games.
franchises this year celebrating their 25th anniversary. I believe Sonic is actually one of them.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, Sonic is celebrating its 25th anniversary this year, which is wild.
I wonder if Professor Oak is dead yet.
Oh no!
Sorry, that's a really morbid thing to think, but
Oh god, that's very morbid.
like he kind of looked a bit old already.
He's just a decrepit old man.
I don't know.
Still
like,
giving out Pokemon. Still going. Oh, you know what? Speaking of Pokemon, I learned something interesting today as well.
What's that?
The designs for all of the team leaders, and the professor from the new Pokemon Go thing that everyone's playing. I don't really know much about it.
I've seen the designs. The Team Valor one looks really awesome, I think.
Yeah. But all of the designs were done by one of the lead character designers on the more recent Fire Emblem games.
Oh, really?
Which is why they share quite a few stylistic similarities.
Do they have feet?
Yes, they have feet.
There was
I should
only Fire
mention-
Emblem Awakening that didn't have feet, wasn't it?
Yeah, Fates has feet.
Okay, good.
It was one of the key features. They don't have weird. They don't all have peg legs.
Yeah, Fire Emblem Awakening is the only one I own. And I was impressed by the just the way they managed to have a cast of memorable characters that was so broad. And they didn't really have anyone who was just filling in, which was really cool because they had quite a range. But yeah, the peg leg thing was weird.
I mean, you got to make sacrifices somewhere, I guess, when you're developing on the 3DS.
What I'd read, and I'm afraid I can't remember where I read it, but apparently it was a deliberate stylistic choice to try to make it. I'm looking for a better word than unique, but that's really the one. Unique and memorable was, hey, maybe this will be the thing, like how Final Fantasy VII has super deformed sprites. But I think the effect it ended up having with people playing the game, like me, were looking at it thinking, is that a mistake? Are they meant to have no feet?
Yeah.
Like, are they sunk into the ground a little bit? But no, they're meant to have no feet. It's just a bit weird.
I actually quickly Googled this.
Oh, yes?
And I found an interview from Intelligent Systems art director Toshiyuki Kusakihara.
Is that they worked on?
They're
on
the
Awakening?
art director for
right.
Fire Emblem Awakening, basically.
Okay.
So, let me just see. They say that they're there. They're just omitted a little bit.
Uh-huh.
The idea was to add a unique sort of deformation to the characters.
Yeah.
As for why it ended up like this, at the start of the project, we weren't entirely sure how many bones and joints we'd be able to use in each character model. Mm-hmm. As it is now, there's a joint in the knees, and then there's nothing below that for the ankles and feet. This makes it a little bit easier to apply animation to models as well. Mm-hmm. We found out afterwards that with the 3DS, we had more than enough CPU strength to flesh out the models a little bit and add real ankles and so on. And we were like, well, if there's a next time, maybe there'll be more ankles. We thought we could make it something that would work well with the characters, but now I'm not so sure.
Yeah.
So it's hard to give a real reason for it. But, well, I think it's kind of cute, isn't it? It looks like they're wearing high heels. Aren't high heels the big fashion these days?
It did look a little bit cute, but I think it looked weirder than cute. And
definitely.
The bigger thing for me was looking at it and thinking, is that intentional? You never want that.
Yeah.
So that took me out of it a bit.
It's bizarre. I totally agree.
But yeah, the fact that they had such a wide range of characters was very cool. The only other game I can think of that did that well would be Chrono Cross. Which, I don't know if you've played it.
No, but I can pick that up.
It's the sequel, sort of, like technically, to Chrono Trigger, which is an amazing game. One of my favorites ever. But in Chrono Cross, there is a massive amount of recruitable characters. You can't get them all in one playthrough even. But, like, no one's a throwaway. I mean, yeah, there's, like, this character's a dog and stuff. But from what I've heard and from what I experienced playing the game, like, they all have their own thoughts on different scenes and stuff. There's not, like, this bit of text that is said by character number 3 because they're not important or anything like that. So that's really cool. I never liked throwaway characters so much. It's really great to see a wide range of fleshed out characters.
And I really like another game that I've been playing, Persona 4 for that as well. Mm-hmm. That's got a super diverse cast of characters. And they all feel like they contribute something really valuably. Even though I'm in the opening hours of that game still, there's so many characters that I've run across that are just, they have their own unique feel to them as a character, first and foremost. And just, there's something about how that game is designed that really, really makes me happy. And, you know, it may just be the characters. They do remind me a hell of a lot of Fire Emblem and, I'm trying to think. There's one other game that they remind me a lot of, but the name is escaping me right now. So we'll just say Fire Emblem.
Sure.
It has several of the same qualities as well as Fire Emblem in terms of gameplay. So maybe that's why I'm drawing those comparisons.
Is it about like pairing characters up or something?
No. Mostly just in terms of how the story is told.
Okay.
It's told like a visual novel.
Yeah. Because it's kind of an anime style, isn't it?
Yep. Much the same as Fire Emblem.
Except it's incredibly anime because you're high school students, is that right?
Yep.
Yeah. There's nothing more anime than high school students.
They have some actually like full anime cutscenes in that as well.
That's neat.
So like there's whole fully voiced cinematics, and it's just this really, really cool thing.
Cool.
Yeah. So, Persona. It's very good. Alrighty. Where are we in terms of time? Whew! We have killed an hour.
Yeah, we've been talking a while.
We did it. I'm gonna cut this bit out in post. Don't worry.
Yeah, I figured. Sorry, yawning.
No worries.
Okay.
Looking up Chrono Cross really quick. Huh.
I think it was a Super Nintendo game. Oh, no, it was PlayStation 1.
PlayStation 1. I cannot find it on the PlayStation Store. Which means I couldn't get it even if I wanted to.
I think it was the first game that GameSpot gave 10 out of 10 or something like that.
I know that Persona 4 was one that Polygon got a 10 out of 10 for.
I think I played Chrono Cross on my PSP with a pirated copy of Chrono Cross, but it could play PlayStation 1 games.
That's why I was looking on the PS Store to see if it was available digitally.
Yeah, and I could never find a legal copy of it, unfortunately.
That sucks.
Yeah, I'm really happy to own Chrono Trigger legally because it came out on the DS, so I bought a copy of that. But my original several playthroughs were all on an illegal copy because that's all I had access to at the time.
All right. You want to wrap this up?
Yep, sure.
All right. So that has this has been our show for the week. This is PauseCast. If you're listening to us on iTunes, give us a rating or a review, perhaps. Anything that helps us helps us with visibility a hell of a lot. And you can do that if you aren't on iTunes but want to go help us out. bit.ly/pausecast-iTunes. You can follow us on Twitter at PauseCastShow. You can follow me individually on Twitter at CockatielCutie.
I'm on Twitter as well. I'm at Honest Universe.
And what do you do on Twitter as well? You do a lot of science reporting?
I tweet about cats and quackery, mostly.
I think you say that in your bio too, don't you?
Possibly. I don't remember.
Yeah. What else? Where else are we on the internet? We're on Facebook.
Yep.
That's right. We're on Facebook. Facebook.com/groups/
PauseCast Show.
PauseCast Show. That's it. Yep.
It's easy to remember because it's the same everywhere.
Yeah. And it's easy to remember, and yet I forget it so easily.
And you can
Because
email
I'm-
us as well at pausecastshow@gmail.com.
And again, we could really use your emails, stories, and ideas for our next episode, which is going to be a discussion about preventing online abuse. So again, that email, pausecastshow@gmail.com. All right, that's going to do it for us, I think. Thank you so much for listening.
Yeah, definitely. Every time. It's always nice.
And we apologize for delaying that conversation about preventing online abuse. We think it's really important, and that's why we want to nail it. And also, it'll be during episode 10, and I think that's probably better timing than just slamming it into episode 9. It makes it feel a little bit more special. It's a milestone.
We have 10 fingers. Sure. Sorry.
10 figures, 10 toes.
I've been into maths. I
Okay.
always find that different base systems are quite arbitrary. But that's just me being a geek.
Everything is arbitrary if you put your mind to it.
Episode 16 will be special.
And why is that?
Because it's 2 to the 2 to the 2 to the 2. Oh, wait, no, that's the wrong one. It's
It's just 2 to the 2 to the 2, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. That's the one.
No.
It's two.
No, it is
it's
2 to the
squares.
2 to the 2 to
It's-
the 2 to the 2.
No, it's 2.
2, 4, 8, 16.
That's
We
2.
can-
That's 2 to the 4, which is 2 to the 2 to the 2.
Oh. No, how does that make sense? There's 3 2s in there.
Yep.
What?
2 times 2 times 2. Wait, that's wrong.
Yeah, you've got that fucked up real bad, huh?
What have I done?
You
Anyway.
screwed it up,
It's
sir.
the problem when I do arithmetic without a piece of paper in front of me. It's the power of 2.
Oh,
That's the
no.
important thing. It's the power of
I think
2.
we both did math very bad there.
I think it's 2 to the 3. Please don't put this in.
No, I'm gonna edit this out in
It's
post.
2 to the 4. Yeah, it is.
Jesus Christ, Mark.
Well, it's like the p-value the other week, and I'm like, well, it turns out when you ask me a question about knowledge that I know I can't answer. Never mind.
Well, I mean, I can't do that either. So, thank you for listening.
Yeah, thanks very much.
We will.
I'll see you
We'll
next
talk
week.
to you next week, and we'll be less bad at math. We promise.
You can do it
Bye.
when it matters. Bye. Oh man.